Hey guys, what's going on? This is John Base back at you with the fourth episode of our Warcraft discussion series, where we talk about all things Warcraft. Today, we're going to discuss the Garrison System of Warlords of Draenor and my opinion on its successes and failures. So, let's get into it. Before the launch of Warlords, people had rather high hopes for the Garrison System, as players saw this announcement as them giving us an opportunity to have player housing in Warcraft. Though Blizzard gave us such a small amount of information when they announced this to be part of the expansion, people's imagination started running wild. Assuming so much to come out of this system, people were really disappointed when it came down to the cruel reality of how uncustomizable and mundane garrisons would truly end up being for the player basis. Let's take a super quick look at how garrisons changed the way professions worked and how that had its turn in altering the in-game economy. Having things like an herb garden, a personal mine, a fishing shack, and many other conveniences made it almost unnecessary to leave your garrison to farm, bringing the worth and price of most of those herbs, ores, and fish way down, causing a pretty intense downturn in the in-game economy. While there are many other reasons for garrisons to be a direct cause to the current mass inflation in World of Warcraft at the moment, so let's move on to some of those other reasons. The Garrison mission table has been one of the most controversial additions to the game, especially as it continued to a degree in Legion and has even shown its ugly head in Battle for Azeroth. In Warlords of Draenor, the command table was such a pinnacle need to keep up with, to be at the standard pace of things with all the other players. It was such an easy gold mine, and gear came abundantly. There is even circulating evidence that people were able to be entirely heroic raid tier geared through nothing other than Garrison mission rewards. And when I said gold mine earlier, I meant it, as there were eventually 10 or more missions at a time that would yield thousands of gold apiece. You would be stupid not to engage in a simple aspect of mindless daily interaction to get rewards that are of quantity like that. Quantity and quality. Now, let's take a short look at the quality of life improvements and the isolation that they caused. Having a personal auctioneer mailbox, as well as things I mentioned earlier like a fishing pond, mine, and herb garden, there was virtually no reason for you to venture out of your garrison for anything other than pre-queued content and scheduled raid times. But in truth, the major cities have become absolutely dead. What we've all feared for so long has happened. World of Warcraft has become World of Solocraft. Players had completely isolated themselves, almost finding no need to even take part in a lot of raid progression at a casual level because they could get themselves totally decked out in raid quality epics from command table missions. The community had felt overall that there was a massive content drought in multiple fields. I mean, the first major content patch wasn't anything more than a selfie camera and a Twitter integration. That mixed with 2 rather short raid tiers and 1 overly long raid tier had players feeling stuck because they had no reason to leave their garrisons for any reason during the Hellfire Citadel content dead zone. Blizzard did really well with the smooth launch of Legion and the constant and rich content patches that they've released on a pretty set schedule for basically the entire duration of this expansion. And it seems as though we're going to have just as bright, if not a brighter future coming with Battle for Azeroth. It seems as though Warlords of Draenor is going to remain as the forgotten expansion. Now, let's do a little bit of speculation on the future of Warcraft. Blizzard has gone through many of the big bads that they have had throughout all of lore and have created over all these years, leaving us with a select few. We've been given a strong and consistent run of good content that if they continue with this pattern, they're going to eventually have to come up with more villains for us to fight. A lot of people seem to think that it's going to end up just like another Mists of Pandaria scenario where the end boss of the expansion ends up being a faction leader. But I foresee a much more dark and tentacly future for World of Warcraft. Especially with Blizzard announcing that Queen Azshara will be a mid-tier raid boss. With her already being announced her ties to the old gods, specifically N'Zoth, I think that we may have an upcoming raid tier that takes us to Nazjatar, or even Neolotha, which we'll cover a lot more in detail in the next video. Now, alright guys, to wrap things up for this one, this is the 4th episode of our discussion series where we talk about all things Warcraft. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Twitch, their links are down in the description below. Anyways, if you like this video, leave a like. If you support what I'm about, hit that subscribe and notification bell. If most important of all, leave a comment down below with all your thoughts and opinions on what I have to say. Community's everything to me. And be safe, guys.